But first, as we always do, want to thank the sponsors of Good Morning Truckee. We have our presenting sponsors, Kelly Brothers Painting and Tahoe Forest Health Care System. Our latte sponsors, Town of Truckee, PT Revolution, Schaefer's Mill Golf and Ski and Lake Club, Moonshine Inc., Tahoe Truckee Media, Truckee Tahoe Unified School District, Sierra Sun, 101.5, Truckee Tahoe Radio, Porter Simon Law Offices, and Auerbach Engineering. Our cappuccino sponsors, Tahoe Truckee Community Foundation, Gold Ring Travel, Boreal Mountain Resort, and Woodward Tahoe, East River Public Relations and Marketing, JKAE, Tykert, and Trout Creek Outfitters. I'd like to take a break now before I go on further with the sponsors, but we actually have Espresso sponsors, Mountain Hardware and Sports, Mount Lincoln Construction, Inc., Tahoe Dave's, Peak Digital Studio, Dixon Realty, LP Insurance Services, LLC, Contractors Association of Truckee Tahoe, Martis Valley Mobile Notary, and Lift Co-work Conference and Wellness Center. And we'd like to recognize the committee and chamber staff that put on Good Morning Truckee and our ambassadors who helped to set up the room and check you in this morning. As always, thanks to Rory and the team. By the way, all of our sponsors are listed back here so you can see them. Take a photo, take it with you. As always, we'd like to thank Rory and the team at Tahoe Truckee Media for handling the AV, and to the great town of Truckee for making the council chambers available for Good Morning Truckee. Okay, first we'll begin with Shannon Decker with the Speedy Foundation. Welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, let's get this adjusted appropriately. Right about there, very good.
Thank you.
AV person?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'm Shannon Decker. I am here from the Tahoe Truckee Suicide Prevention Coalition, which is a program of the nonprofit, the Speedy Foundation. The Speedy Foundation is a nonprofit that I started along with some friends and family back in 2011 in memory of a cousin that I lost to suicide. His nickname was Speedy, thus the name. He was on the U.S. ski team for about 16 years in the discipline of aerials. He was a three-time Olympian. Who talked openly about struggling with mental health, struggling with substance use, especially alcohol. He talked about adverse childhood experiences. He talked openly about a lot of these things without training, without much sophistication, in a time before athletes were encouraged to do so. And so sadly, when he passed away by suicide, we decided to do something in his legacy to promote suicide prevention. Since 2011, we can see that there's been a huge cultural shift when it comes to talking about these deaths of despair, these topics that are really hard to talk about. We've started to understand the impact that an adverse childhood experience has on a person's trajectory in life and their lifelong health. And so we've seen a lot change in the 14 years that we've been doing this work, and it's really encouraging. So my background is education. I was a public school teacher and school administrator, and so the direction that we've taken Speedy's story and this change culturally across our country is through advocacy, through conversations, through education and training. And so the way that we do that here in Truckee Tahoe is outreach, education, and collaboration. We've got a lot of our collaborative partners here in the room today. The Tahoe Truckee Coalition was formed in 2013. At that time, here locally, we had several deaths by suicide in our youth and our young adults. And so we created a rural strategy to prevent suicide prevention that was shared throughout communities across California and nationwide. It is a group of people that has changed and expanded throughout the years that it's been here locally. We do a lot of work collaboratively. Here are some of the community partners that meet. We meet monthly. In fact, we meet at 9:30 right after this meeting takes place each month. It's a great opportunity for us to come to the table to discuss not only death by suicide, which is very difficult, it's very hard. But we can talk about all the things that go upstream from that, the prevention efforts that happen when we're talking about kindness campaigns, when we're talking about school programming, when we're talking about organizational trainings. And so I've got a couple of our partners in the room, Maeve and Maria, are individuals that attend our meetings regularly and contribute through their organizations. There's always more opportunities to collaborate, and so if you are an organization working in that field and would like, a place at that table or more information, I'm always happy to connect with you. But some of the programming that the coalition is responsible for, thanks to Placer and Nevada County's mental health service dollar funding, goes to resources and collaboration throughout the community. On the table are a couple resources. I could have brought stacks and stacks, and if you've ever been to one of our trainings, you probably walked away with a lot of different resources. I'll just come over here and grab some things. We have the ability to bring resources to your organization if you need them. You'll see us out in the community distributing naloxone. We have little mini libraries for organizations that maybe want to have some materials out and available. On your table there are 988 magnets, 988 cards. There are red cards for immigration rights. There's a lot of other resources that I didn't bring, and I want you to know that we are happy to provide those. We do community outreach events. Truckee Thursdays is one where you'll find us out just mixed in with Pit Viper and Woodward, and then you get to the Suicide Prevention Coalition, where we're distributing naloxone and gun locks and having some of those more difficult conversations. And I just want to kind of share that for a lot of individuals in this community, we have incredible moments of happiness, and we get to share that. And for a lot of us, we grieve things. It's not always, deaths of despair like suicide or overdose, but we don't often get to share that. And so at these tables, it's oftentimes an opportunity to disclose, something that you may not have told anyone else. Last week I was hosting a community outreach table at a middle school when a middle schooler approached me and shared something that she hasn't been able to share with a lot of other people. So these community outreach events are an opportunity for us to really get down to the realness of life in Truckee. And training and education is the other bucket that really resonates with me and is a huge benefit to the business community here. At our school district level, we have implemented a program called Hope Squad, which is a peer-to-peer suicide prevention program. It was started 5 years ago after we lost a student to suicide and realized that we needed to revamp the suicide programming within our schools. And so it's a great opportunity. We know that the Hope Squad students have been really active. They come to the chamber, I'm sorry, not to the chamber, they come to these chambers and have done proclamations with town council. They are active in the community. They just recently had a Hope Week for the entire district where even the elementary schools got involved with acts of kindness. And they are working to become the peer supports where they know how to help a peer and themselves navigate crisis, navigate hardship, and make sure that we don't keep any unsafe secrets. Training and education is also available to adults throughout the community, and we are excited to partner with various organizations. The hospital is one that we've been able to provide a lot of training opportunities to, the town, Truckee Police Department, and we will talk more about that in just a moment. But the collaboration is key. We believe that we really need to change the culture of all facets of life in order for us to reduce suicide, to reduce death by drug overdose or substance use rates. And some of the collaboration that we've been really excited about comes with like the Truckee Police Department's advisory committee. It's been a great opportunity to make sure that we're dialed in. We know that in the United States we've been treating mental illness with law enforcement and emergency departments. And that's been the model for a very long time. That has started to shift and change, and there's opportunities for a lower level of intervention and care, but those are still the community partners that we need to engage. Tahoe Forest is an organization that has become champions of suicide prevention by adopting the zero suicide model. And I would love for Maria with Tahoe Forest to stand up and just share a little bit about what that model looks like.
Thanks, Shannon. Yeah, we started
Maria,
this.
excuse me, can you go use the microphone so that you have it on the recording? Thanks. Make it more nerve-wracking.
Hi, everyone. I'm Maria Martin, Director of Community Health for Tahoe Forest Health System. And just a little bit about the Zero Suicide Initiative. We embarked on this path, actually with the state of Nevada and their health systems in 2020, because they were kind of rolling this out along the state. And we find that it is, for the health system, it not only provides us with this aspirational goal of zero suicide, but it provides us the structure to train all of our staff at all levels on safer suicide care for patients with suicidal ideation. So we've gone through many different avenues. Most of our work is around policies, workflows, consistently throughout the health system, and then staff training to help them feel more comfortable working with patients that are at risk for suicide, and then also training our staff to be aware of suicide prevention efforts so that when they come across family members, neighbors, or other people in the community, they are in a position to be able to respond appropriately.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Yeah. So just very brief, high level, you may have noticed some changes if you are a consumer of healthcare through Tahoe Forest. You might have noticed surveys that you're given as you enter a primary care physician. And this is really cutting edge stuff in our country. Hospitals, healthcare systems that adopt zero suicide. Through the Speedy Foundation, we work in other mountain communities like Park City, Utah, and Boise, Idaho, and not everybody's at the same level, not the same readiness as Truckee, Tahoe. So we do have some really incredible work that's taking place. What I come to you today and ask is, are you part of an organization that, I've got a typo up here, why should organizations care? Are you an organization that could utilize with additional resources or with training? We know that suicide affects over half of our citizens in this country, and that workplace suicides have increased drastically since the year 2000. We know that approximately 200 to 300 of every 1,000 employees will suffer from a serious mental health issue. And if it's not them directly, we know that they've got family members, friends, and folks within their circle who are being impacted. And that has a direct impact on their production, their ability to be contributing members of the organization. And so training helps us to increase our mental health literacy, and thanks to mental health service dollar funding through the state of California, this training can be provided at no cost to you. It really helps to reduce barriers, to increase our understanding of how to navigate crisis, and will teach people risk factors and warning signs, how to keep themselves and others safe, and have these sometimes difficult conversations. One of the big pieces of mental health literacy is really making sure that everyone knows about 988. Raise your hand if you know what 911 is. Great. 988 should be just as common. We should all know that if we are having a mental health or an emotional crisis, that we don't need to call 911 unless there is a very serious medical threat or a public safety threat. 988 is there to take care of that emotional crisis, to help us navigate, to de-escalate, to triage, to decide if we need to take this to a higher level of care, like law enforcement or a hospital system, or if it's a lower level of care where we can get connected to a mobile crisis worker or a local clinician. Locally, we have implemented a crisis system. This is a collaboration between the hospital and the county's behavioral health systems and law enforcement. And so Truckee has a mobile crisis team, and it doesn't matter if you live in Placer or Nevada County, you can call these two phone numbers anytime, and they will help to triage if we need to have a mobile crisis team, a licensed clinical social worker come and address the resources that are needed for that mobile crisis. So these are both phone numbers that we really encourage folks to be familiar with, to have programmed into your phone, and for your organization to know how to navigate. So the crisis navigation is a training that we'd be happy to come and walk through your staff with. 15 minutes, 30 minutes, to just understand what to do should a crisis occur. We are embarking on a focus group. We encourage folks to share their thoughts. We see another cultural shift as far as relationships to alcohol. We're seeing more sober curious, dry Januaries, and so we are going to be launching community focus groups to decide what type of change is happening here locally. Is there an opportunity for us to create a community campaign about drinking less, to do more and be active in this community? So stay tuned. We'll be sending more through Chamber of Commerce Communications around this. But if you're interested, would love to capture your contact information and reach out to you directly. To fund some of our work, we have an annual Hike for Hope that takes place at Donner Lake. This year's hike is on June 22nd, and leading up to that throughout the month of May, which is Mental Health Awareness Month, we have a couple fundraisers and activities. We'll have bingo night on May 8th. We're going to be doing Portraits for Hope, where you can have headshots taken by our photographer Kelly Price. We're going to have a trivia night at Alibi Ale Works and a donation-based yoga at Mountain Lotus on May 30th, all leading up to this Hike for Hope. Our goal is to raise $20,000 to fund Hope Squad programming and expand the mental health, social emotional learning funding for the school district, through the private and the charter schools, and additional outreach. We do a lot of messaging out on the radio around suicide prevention, opioid overdose prevention, and that and the likes. We are so thankful to our supporters, our sponsors. There's more room for your logo to be listed up here as well. But if you've ever been touched by suicide, if you've been touched by an overdose death, if you've been touched by someone in a mental health crisis, would be a great opportunity for you to come to hike at Donner Lake with us and to just be with people who can understand those hard pieces. We get to share a lot of joy with others. We don't always get to share the hard stuff. I'm going to have to take off because we have a meeting that starts in 1 hour where we dive into all this. So if you're interested, you're always welcome to reach out to me. And that's what I've got for you. Thank you.
We are running a little bit ahead, so Shannon will take a couple of questions if you have them right now. Anyone? You're free. Okay. And Shannon, thank you very much for making the time to be with us today. Jordan Brandt and Brianna Miner with Crow's Nest are next, so if they would come up to the lectern.
Trina, you're up here too.
Are you ready? Uh-oh.
I got the team.
You got the team? Okay.
You just have to push the arrow to go to next.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. This is pretty much the core of our team, so I wanted to bring all three of us up here. To my right is my wife and business partner, Brianna Miner. She manages predominantly our admin and insurance billing. To the right of her is Katrina Casara. Sorry, I almost said Katie. That's what you are on my phone. She is our associate clinical director. Our clinical director could not be here because she is out working her own program right now. As you will quickly learn from everybody on our staff, we all come from the side of addiction into recovery, which I'm personally proud of being able to present today. So, Crow's Nest Ranch, we do recover. What that means for us is that there is a light side to life, and that you're not always just going to be stuck in addiction. That being said, we preach a 100% abstinence model. So, with all that, creating a new pathway in your life, creating a new everything requires a significant amount of change, which we'll go into today on how we help people get there. So, by raise of hands, how many of you here made a New Year's resolution? Come on, let's see it. All right, now, guess where this is going? By today, have you stuck to that and completed your New Year's resolution? And dwindled. So, what am I getting at here? What I'm getting at is lasting change is really difficult, especially when it comes to something like addiction and substance abuse. I personally know firsthand. I tried starting getting sober at 24 and 34 with 3 years of sobriety. It's not easy, and it takes a lot of conscious effort and work, and a lot of people cannot do it on their own. They just can't. And so having a place like Crow's Nest here locally where people can get legitimate, professional, and trained treatment from people who have been on that side, learned how to help people, and gain the insight that they can then pass along is something that I think is pretty invaluable to our community. Obviously, it's my program. So, you know, with that, it's more than just willpower. It's more than just I can do it. Sometimes you need somebody there for you, cheering you on and keeping you going, right? I mean, if you all had like a team of 5 cheering you on and keeping you honest to your New Year's resolution, you'd probably still be on it, or you would have completed it for sure and not been, right? So, with all that being said, that's why having professional help here is so important. Me personally, I needed professional help. I was a repeat offender, okay? So I know firsthand, and you know, they're gonna get to speaking as well, and I'll get out of your way too. Sorry, I'm a little shaky. I was running workout this morning, and that stuff jacks me up, so apologies. So you know, in the first 90 days too. So a lot of people, they'll come out of inpatient, and they'll get 30 to 90 days of inpatient, and predominantly 30, and they'll be coming out and they'll be needing extra care, because that first 30 is crucial, but you need a lot more than 90 days of legitimate treatment, people being there for you, helping guide you through a lot of those emotions. Those first 90 days is when your prefrontal cortex is beginning to repair itself and build back. And that prefrontal cortex is the logic part of your brain rather than the animal part of your brain. We all hear about it, the lizard brain, right? Okay. Proactive group here, thank you. So what we do is we provide that additional amount of days that we want to be able to be here for people and give them that time. That being said, you know, we can also work with people who say they don't want to go away and they want to stay home and they want to stay close to family but rebuild, and perhaps they don't have as high of an acuity as those who I myself needed to go away. And so we can be there for them as well. And there are a lot of people who need that kind of treatment, and they just need like, hey, you can do this, and you just need to be able to be willing to make the radical change in your life that is necessary, and we're here for you. So, why is connection essential for healing? By a raise of hands, how many of you here think you live in a hole by yourself? Thought so. So, when it comes to addiction, we can quite literally feel like we are under the microscope. We all feel like we're under the microscope in one sense or another, right? We all live inside of this thing called our head, and that thing in our head can make you feel like you're the center of the universe. Unfortunately, for all of us, we're not. Also, fortunately, right? Anyway, so the point here is that in addiction you can get so focused and so self-absorbed in a very accidental way about the fact that you think that you're the world's worst person. I've been there. He's been there. Katrina walked away. She's been there. Hopefully not Ozzy. But my point here being is that, you know, with connection you can learn that you're not the only person who's made these mistakes, and you're not the only person who's thought the way that you think. You can watch our patients come in the door, they talk about things, especially the new ones, and then they see around the room everyone, yeah, definitely, been there, done that, or worse. And you see the, I call it declenching the, you know, but you see him relax. You see him be like, oh, this is a place I can breathe. This is a place I can actually talk to people. This is a place I can get legitimate community in. And that's something we love to watch and something we really enjoy seeing. And so, you know, we've done quite a lot of work. This is this was our New Year's Eve hike, you know, where naturally on New Year's Eve people would probably go out, get messed up, start the New Year's resolution with whatever it was we were all going to fail at in about day 15, and start all over again. I'm going to change my life this year. Are you? It's okay that you're not, but maybe if you do really want to, the idea is that you can find a place where you can come and people can keep you accountable and vice versa. I gained a lot of insight from our patients, and they'll vouch for that too. I swear to God I'm going to get to them. Anyway, so we went and I took them up, took them on a big hike, snow hike. It was miserable. It was blowing sideways, freezing cold. It was great. Made everybody do this thing. It's kind of like our little thing, you know, the outstretched crow. That is our logo, is also making everybody do the outstretched hands. We've all seen these kinds of stances before. It's a sign of liberation, freedom, and sense of happiness, right? All right, I'm gonna get out of your face. You've met me. I would like you to meet Katrina and Brianna. We'll start with Katrina because she's so excited to present. She was avid about getting here.
I was tricked. I was told I would be at the observer's table. We'll discuss this later. I am slightly unprepared, but I will say I've actually had my eye on Crow's Nest for quite some time. I was kind of waiting for something like this to be, to come to this community. I think it's, as Jordan sort of pinpointed, having this level of care in this community was something that we needed here. What I really enjoy about our program is sort of the unique style that Jordan's brought is mixing a lot of the physical stuff, which I think is a component of recovery that's extremely important. So we have sort of an aggressive sort of morning routine.
We define intensive.
So I think that that's something that really speaks to sort of the high intensity nature of like a mountain community, that it really engages in these mountain sports and kind of draws in a different clientele. We have a lot of sort of younger male clients that I think this program uniquely speaks to. Again, I was tricked into this, I'm happy to be here. I'm definitely excited to connect with everybody in this field and see like where different partnerships can go. As was mentioned before, collaboration is really key in this field. So this was a really big opportunity, and I'm very thankful that you guys invited us today. So I will turn it over to B.
As Katrina, I did not know that I was having to speak today, so Jordan's really just no, we were arguing against that. But yeah, I'm Brianna, co-founder here at Crow's Nest Ranch. Yeah, I think something that I just want to share with our program that I feel like is really important, how Jordan was saying the community aspect, but with that, changing the stigma of addiction and mental health. And by that, how that looks is creating community where people can connect and not feel so alone. As we know, when people start to feel isolated, feeling alone, it's really hard to, battle mental health issues and not rely on substances. So that's a big part of our program here, building that community and learning to do fun things. Like we got to partner with Sugar Bowl this winter, shout out to Sugar Bowl, and take people snowboarding and skiing and teach them how to go ride a ski lift without, having a beer on the chairlift or taking a shot at the bar. So being able to do things like that and just really integrating people into our community here and teaching them how to be sober and help them along the way with Katrina's help and assistance with the therapy for their mental health issues. Yeah, I don't really have much more than that, so.
Thank you. I'm back. So yeah, real quickly, we'll give you Lorraine. She graciously recorded a video for us. What? She's our clinical director. Apologies. Great human being, just out this week.
Hello, and on behalf of the team at Crow's Nest Ranch Substance Use Treatment Program here in Truckee, thank you for providing us the space to introduce ourselves and to briefly discuss a few of the highlights of the Crow's Nest Intensive Outpatient and Sober Living Program. I'm Lorraine Little, and I currently serve as the clinical director at Crow's Nest Ranch. I hold active clinical practice licenses as a licensed clinical social worker and a licensed advanced alcohol drug counselor in the state of California. My work experience in the field of integrated addiction treatment spans more than 13 years as a counseling professional and more than 21 years as a peer member of the recovery community. I also maintain several related professional certifications across the range of evidence-based modalities specific to substance use, to the substance use suffering population and the overall well-being enhancement. What draws my interest to oversee the clinical operations at Crow's Nest Ranch is the unique approach to integrate traditional evidence-based and emerging experiential interventions to support holistic mind, body, and spirit healing. And the CNR team will discuss some of those in a little more detail. You know, addiction is an insidious disease which destroys, and if left untreated, every aspect of the sufferer's life, as well as negatively impacts the well-being of the people who care about the addicted person. The early phase of recovery is most often the most challenging due to the complete disconnect between midbrain and the frontal brain communication. This leads to complete biopsychosocial behavior destruction, which are the misunderstood and often very unacceptable symptoms of this horrible disease. A primary intermediation to reconnect those two brains is vigorous physical activity. Additionally, evidence also supports that spending time in nature is a significant value to support social healing and a connection to positive experiences in the universe. Ultimately, the goal of Mind, Body, Spirit Engagement program here at Crow's Nest Ranch is to motivate and assist the addicted patient to create a reframe around the underlying and the current barriers which impede sober living, and to establish a new manner for whole being living with purpose. Once again, we thank you very much for your time today, and we hope to develop a very nice partnership moving forward. Have a wonderful day, and I hope you enjoy the rest of our presentation. Thank you.
That's Lorraine, everybody. Oh, there we go. Just some quick, past testaments from some of our patients, people we worked with locally. Due to HIPAA realities, you get their initials, unfortunately, but I promise they're real and not just sourced from ChatGPT. Anyway, moving right along. So yeah, like everybody said, we're a holistic treatment center. What does that mean? That means the whole person, the whole body, mind, body, and spirit. We take a very strong emphasis on every single one of those. You have to have your psychosocial, you have to have different, meetings and be able to sit down and talk things out and have talk therapy. You have to be able to move what's inside of your body, outside of your body. We hold a lot in. And so we created a pretty, like I said, we put the intense in intensive. It's a physical aspect as well. Every morning we have some sort of body workout and or movement exercise. Some of that a little unorthodox. However, I would beg to differ that it's not, because it's my program. But we also implement a pretty strong spiritual aspect with mindfulness and meditation, and pretty much every single afternoon group starts with a meditation, anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes, depending on the group and how much time we have. So with that being said, so we have things like Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu, which you're like, oh, that sounds great, huh? Is actually really good. We, for the most part, we teach very, very beginning level, meet you where you're at, 101 Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu. It's very simple. The mind-body connection, you can actually look it up. Treating Trauma with Jiu-Jitsu is actually a legitimate book that I found when I was developing this program, and I was like, all right, I got a book written by a therapist that confirms it, so there we go. And then, I've found a lot of my own personal recovery through these two practicums myself, and so I personally love them, right? Also my program. So anyway, all that being said, we also implement yoga. I'm sure that if I asked you all to raise your hand, some of you do practice yoga, and you can, confirm that that is a legitimate form of mind-body connection as well. And then we have a thing called Fight Fitness, which I was doing this morning, where essentially it combines a little bit of bag work and a little bit of throwing kettlebells around with some pretty much body weight style workouts. Essentially the kind of thing that you could copy at home with a kettlebell or two, very simply, so that way when they leave our program, they can be like, oh yeah, I can do that right here at home, or I can go do that at the gym, or I can just go to the gym and do what I want to do. We very much emphasize that when you're in our program, we don't expect you to become some epic practitioner whatsoever. We don't expect you to become a yogini or a Muay Thai specialist or a Jiu-Jitsu grappler at all. However, some people do end up doing that, which is great, and other people just really enjoy the fact that they learn that they can get up early and do something hard. It teaches a new, lifestyle for them, right? So moving on, the nature aspect, which I'm sure we're all far more interested in talking about, which is, you know, a big part of this community, right? We all know that going outside feels great. There's not a single person in here that can say after a hike I felt still dark, moody, and angry. I guarantee you that when you got back, you were at least 1% feeling better. And so it's true, you know, there's a lot of science out there. There's a lot of physical evidence that can back all this up. And I mean, it dates way back to like the 1800s and further. You know, you see it on stone tablets about the health of being outside and going outside. So we do a lot of different things, you know, like Brianna said, we partnered with Sugar Bowl over the winter and we called it the art of shreditation. If you go on our Instagram, I've made a funny post about it. Nat Geo style, pretty proud of that. Anyway, moving on is, you know, we do things like that. We do seasonal adventures. This summer we'll be partnering again with Waterman's Landing over on the North Shore to be doing paddle sports of all kinds. We go on hikes, bike rides, everything like that. We do silent hikes for groups sometimes where you have to create some kind of intention with your hike, and then that entire hike, you know, 10-15 minute walk outside hike. And it just kind of helps recenter and reground. So what are we doing? We're teaching people how to live life on life's terms. We're rewiring them for joy and trying to help them just realize that this life is worth living without the need of something hazing the conscience and without something needing to even quote unquote improve the conscious experience, right? So, you know, learning to do hard things and learning to deal with life on life's terms is an extremely important thing, and an extremely important thing for those in recovery, because we really like to jack things up. So, like I just said, kind of preempted myself on this slide, but we like to equip people with the kind of things that they can leave with, right? So, you know, spit in the air, it lands on a yoga studio here, or YouTube yoga, my personal favorite. You know, like I said, the workout's pretty easy to do that. You get pretty familiar with the gym, you can come anytime. We're an extremely welcoming community there. I mean, I'm not the only person in recovery in the actual part of the gym. I'm just the only one as outspoken as I am. And then there's, you know, things like going outside, learning to do that. And people do form friendships in these groups, and they end up having kind of like sober companions and sober accountability buddies beyond the program. Right now we're finally to a point where we're creating an alumni meeting where people can show up and all gather together and be together, you know, after hours, not being run by us, kind of peer-to-peer style thing. This is taking a lot of work, but we're pretty proud of that. And last but not least, because I am a smartass by all means necessary, I'm sure you couldn't gather that already by my demeanor, we are doing what's called a 420 sober smoker. I don't know if anybody's active on Facebook, but I've been taking some heat on there. It's all right. So what we're essentially doing here is we're showing, like, look, we can have fun with this. Recovery is tough, but it doesn't have to suck. We can have fun. We can have a good time together. So this 420, April 20th, Easter Sunday, we are having an event at our gym / office space. They're stacked on top of each other right next to High Five. We're in the same building as High Fives, around the corner from Full Belly Deli, and I'm enticing you with free tacos. We're going to have free tacos. From 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., we're going to do some yoga, a little bit of self-defense. We'll have mindfulness and meditation run by one of our mindfulness instructors who comes in about once a month, Carla. She works down in South Lake. She runs South Lake Tahoe, or Lake Tahoe Mindfulness Community and Wise Caregiving. She's amazing. Got some great sponsors there. Not all of them are listed. Carrie Clank, who is an instructor at Alpen Flow Yoga, and also our Wednesday morning yoga instructor for our Yoga for Recovery, Coach Jay, who is the black belt, who works with me on the martial arts aspect. He is a longtime practitioner, 50 some odd years old, been doing it probably as long as I've been alive. And then I myself, I've been practicing Muay Thai for about 12 years, so I'm pretty confident in my ability to show you all a little bit of striking there. And I'm being told that my time is up, which is perfect because we're done here. It's on your table. If you have any questions, I think I've taken up all the time. So anyway, thank you.
Thank you, Jordan and Brianna, for the work that you do in the community. I believe that's very inspiring. Our next speakers will be Kelly Bathgate, Interim Executive Director, and Louis Lopez, Therapeutic Mentor.
He's not here.
Oh, Louis not here.
He's sick.
Okay. Talk slow. Make make it work out. And Kelly is with Gateway Mountain Center. Kelly, it's all yours.
Thank you. Let's see, I use this guy.
Yeah, just the arrow.
Perfect. Good morning. I'm Kelly Bathgate. I'm Interim Executive Director at Gateway Mountain Center. Gateway Mountain Center exists to bridge the transformative power of human connection and nature immersion. So a lot of the terms I'll be using, you've heard. I think it's no secret the kind of wellness power of nature. I think many, if you are like me, I live here because of its effect on my own personal wellness. My clicker's not working. Let's see. Is there a different way? Yes, I can do it that way. Awesome. Our founder, Peter Mayfield, started Gateway almost 2 decades ago, and he's really been an innovator and a leader in what has now become a movement, which is the Nature as Medicine movement. We are thrilled that there has been more attention called to this in the broader mental health community, and also recognize that that's because there has been such an increased rate of mental health issues among everyone, and particularly among young people. Just talking about California, there's been a huge increase of mental health challenges over the last 5 years since the start of the pandemic. A recent report from the California Healthcare Foundation shows that both percentages of young people experiencing a major depressive episode, as well as young people experiencing anxiety, have increased over 5 percentage points. To put that into real numbers, there are somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 to 12 million young people in California between the ages of 5 and 24. So that's 500,000 increase. And that, just to put it into real numbers that we can understand. I also think it's important to note those are the people who have reported it. And as we all know, that is not everyone. There's so many people that are suffering in silence. And like many healthcare and other social services, the quality and access to care, there's a huge disparity between those that have resources in their family to access care, particularly in mental health, which isn't as broadly covered by public health services, and those families that have less resources. Enter Whole Hearts, Mind, Bodies, which is Gateway's signature program. It's a nature-based, one-to-one therapeutic mentoring program. We use highly trained, clinically supervised, what we call paraprofessionals. The idea is that it's expanding who can provide services, who can connect with young people outside of just clinicians, but using a clinically supervised approach. This is for young people that are experiencing moderate to severe mental health challenges. And the idea is really not just expanding who can deliver these services, but also where it can happen. It's really meeting people where they are. So you don't have to go to a clinic or a doctor's office to get care, but you can really get care anywhere, and particularly in our beautiful community out in nature. We have partnerships and get referrals from both Tahoe Forest Hospital as well as TTUSD, and we are the only program like ours that is certified by Medi-Cal, excuse me, and have partnerships with both Placer and Nevada counties to get referrals of young people that need support. We use what is called the 4 Roots method developed by our founder, Peter Mayfield. Really, again, this is all going to sound very familiar in this audience, but it's 4 components. The first is authentic relationships, the proven value of relationships with a consistent, caring adult in one's life that's not their parent is profoundly beneficial and really creates a container of care and healing for young people. Nature immersion, obviously the power of this amazing environment that we all get to live in, opening our senses to that and helping young people really kind of feel the benefits of that. I think, Jordan, as you mentioned, we all tend to live in our own brain, and sometimes that deters us from getting to benefit from the great world around us. The third component, Kate. I knew I was going to do that. That's so funny. Embodied peak experience. There might be a recent reason why I'm blocking that out. Embodied peak experience is this idea of really pushing ourselves and getting uncomfortable, especially through physical activity. So if you're going down a mountain or you're even crossing a log over a river, you're so focused on exactly what you're doing because you might be a little nervous, a little scared. Our mentors provide that both figurative and sometimes literal hand-holding to help an individual across that log. But they really get to benefit from the neurological effects of really focusing on sort of the task at hand and really taking advantage of that kinesthetic benefit as well. And finally, service to others. Again, I think that this is a well-known kind of edict of mental health, that when we can be in service of others, it gives us a sense of identity, a sense of self and empowerment, and really belonging to the community that we are a part of. Our clients are young people ranging in age from 6 to 24. They generally, the ones that are referred, are some of the more higher needs young people in our community who are suffering from moderate to severe mental health challenges, anything from mild anxiety to those who have experienced really significant adverse childhood experiences, and really using this program to address that at early ages. We also work with many young people that are suffering from substance use disorder, and provide these services as really thinking about it as an intervention versus treatment. The cool thing about this work is that the images that we get to have in the background are so beautiful. It's one of my favorite parts. Since we were founded in 2006, we've worked with over 30,000 young people through all of our programs. What's really important to me, 91% of our clients are still engaged after 6 months. And for those of us that do this work, we know that relative to young people that enter kind of a traditional therapy program that is attached with all the stigma that gratefully is reducing but still very present, that statistic I think is really important because they're staying engaged. We're meeting them without the stigma that is often attached, and they just get to hang out with their mentor and go kayaking or go hiking, go skiing, any of these activities that have a much different stigma in this community. We see a 45% reduction in emotional and relational stress. And again, these numbers, these stats I can throw out at you, but I think, unfortunately, my colleague Louis is not here, but he is one of our mentors and has countless stories, as all our mentors do, of young people that come in and truly just, even have the posture of feeling defeated based on living life on life's terms. And this work really, over time, through consistent communication, through meeting people 2 to 3 hours every week, taking them on adventures, empowering them step by step to choose what activities they do, to support them through that, having the kind of maybe scary active experiences. It's really incredibly transformative. So the stats are wonderful. The stories are, I think, what really inspires myself and our colleagues. Over half of our participants are from the Latino community or other people of color. Again, I think what's really important is that this is providing a service that is both accessible and again, like very accessible both from a resources and from a stigma attachment. This quote here I love. Nature frees me from the prison of my mind, washing away all the sadness and tension and filling me with beauty. I don't think, like you said about going on a hike, who comes back and doesn't feel better? I think this is just so relatable, and often, that's exactly what I do when I am having a very hard day, and so it just shows, I think, truly the transformative power of nature. We have another program, Sierra Experience, which is, some might say, a lower dosage. We bring youth groups and school-based groups up to the mountains to really experience nature immersion and a wellness curriculum up here in the Sierras. Also highly trained wellness-based approach from our guides. We work with all schools, private schools, public schools, with a focus on those that don't otherwise have the resources. And we recently, through an incredible state grant, the Behavioral Health Continuum Infrastructure Program. I think that's the first time in my 6 months at Gateway that I actually said the whole thing. We lovingly refer to it as BCHIP. Through a state grant, as well as an incredibly generous gift from some local college psychiatrists in the area, we recently purchased what is now named the Ilfeld High Mountain Lodge up on Donner Summit. It sits on 23 acres, and it is about to undergo construction, but is going to be the home for all of our Sierra Experience programming, and expand to also provide more treatment, again, in an incredible environment. Here are some amazing images of our lodge, of kids enjoying themselves and experiencing nature and community. That is all. Oh. Okay.
Thank you, Kelly. We do have some time for questions for our speakers before we move on to our nonprofit spotlight. Does anyone have a question that they'd like to ask? I know that, yes.
Mine's silly, but what was the nickname of the lodge?
Nickname of the lodge.
What did you call it?
It's the Ilfeld High Mountain Lodge. The nickname is for the grant that we got. It's the Behavioral Health Continuum Infrastructure Program of the state of California, which obviously is a mouthful. So we call it BCHIP.
Oh, okay.
Good question. Anyone else? Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, do any of these organizations work with either of the counties with low income or homeless mental health issues?
Let's take the microphone.
On the microphone. Yes, so we have partnerships with both Placer and Nevada County, and get referrals for individuals, and their program is supported by Medi-Cal.
Okay, thank you.
Keep in mind, we have questions also potentially for Jordan.
She's got an answer for that.
I was just going to say, and in regards to Crow's Nest Ranch, right now we're in the process. We submitted our application to Medi-Cal. Since we're a treatment facility, it does take a lot of hoops and a long time for them to process that. But we have been in constant communication with Nevada and Placer County. And once we have that application approved, then they will be sending referrals to us and being able to work with our low-income community.
Okay. And Gateway just works with youth, right? You're not doing adults. The programs you do with the county are just for the youth, right? Or
That's true.
Yes.
okay.
Yes, we work with young people ranging in age from 6 to 24.
Okay. And Crow's Nest would be working with adults as well.
Yeah, we primarily work with 18.
I need you on the microphone.
Oh. So as of right now, we work with 18 and up. We don't have any age cutoff. And we do have some workshops for youth coming up as well.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yep.
Thank you. Good questions. Keep in mind, Jordan is in on this too. Any other questions? Yes, in the back.
For Crow's Nest, you guys said you have your office and gym space, and then do you also have your housing? How many houses do you have, and how many people can you take in?
Okay, question is, you have your office and your gym, and how many housing spaces do you have for your purpose?
So right now we have one men's sober living located in the town of Truckee. As you can tell by what just recently happened with the other housing that was supposed to happen, we keep that near to our chest for a lot of reasons. It is local. We are working on a women's sober living as we speak. The men's has 6 beds. We have 3 of those filled currently. One person will be exiting at the end of this week, so we will have 4 beds open there. Like Brianna said, we are working our buns off to work with the counties and get that going. There's a lot of hoops, which is fun, keeping us fit.
Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Yes, I was just wondering about volunteer opportunities at Gateway.
Okay, the question is, are there volunteer opportunities at Gateway?
Kate, right behind you, my colleague Kate Frankfurt can answer that question.
At the microphone.
Oh,
Thanks.
I was working a way to get you up here.
Good
to see you. Volunteer opportunities at Gateway, we tend to work with folks whom we will train to be peer support specialists, whole hearts, bodies, and minds and bodies mentors. That is not actually a volunteer experience, it is a paid experience. The volunteer opportunities we have a lot of opportunities that we're not able to take advantage of at times because of the ways in which our staff are deployed. We would love help getting the word out. We would love help volunteering at events, to staff events. We would love volunteer help with skills that you might have that we might benefit from as an organization. So if you have something that you do, that you love, that you feel could be of benefit to us, it does just allow us to sort of expand our abilities and our staff. So I'd love to talk to you more about whatever you think you might want to offer, and let's see if we can find a way to plug you in, for sure.
Thank you. With her sitting right behind you, you will not probably escape easily. So, any other further questions? We have a little bit of time. Okay. If no more questions, we will move on to our nonprofit spotlight with Heather Schwartz and the S.O.S. outreach. Welcome. Watch out for that.
Hello everybody. As you can tell, I'm not Heather Schwartz. I'm Spencer Cox, Marketing Manager for S.O.S. Outreach. And this is the wonderful Heather Schwartz, our North Lake Tahoe Program Manager. For those of you who don't know or haven't heard, S.O.S. is a youth development nonprofit here in the Tahoe Basin. We work with young people who face challenges, helping them build skills for life through outdoor-based mentorship. Heather will talk a little bit more about our programs, but we had our largest program ever here in North Lake, engaging over 300 local youth from around the basin. So for North Lake, that's Tahoma, all the way around the lake to Incline with Kings Beach, Truckee, and all the communities in between. We also run a separate program in South Lake Tahoe, engaging about 300 youth there as well. Since we're on the theme of mental health, we thought it'd be appropriate to share a little bit about how our program relates to that. It's not directly tied to our mission, but it certainly is an outcome of our programs. We do programming year-round, but the core of our programming is in the winter. We're all so lucky to have the access that we do in Truckee, but just because the mountains are here in our backyard doesn't mean that they're accessible for all our youth. There are significant cultural and financial barriers that prevent our youth from getting up on the mountain and having a good time and enjoying the slopes that we get to enjoy. So being able to have a shared activity like skiing and snowboarding is huge for our youth. Obviously, like Kelly shared, nature is healing. Just being able to get outside is so important. But also being able to connect with your peers through that shared activity. Being able to come to school on a Monday and say, "Did you ski the powder this weekend?" And our kids be able to say, "Yeah, we got to go out. It was awesome." It just means a lot for building belonging and community. So I'll pass it on to Heather.
I'm Heather. I'm the North Lake Tahoe Truckee Program Manager with S.O.S. Outreach. And like Spencer mentioned, we do work with a bunch of youth in our community, and I was going to just quickly highlight some of our program progression as to what's already happening out there. So the way that kids get involved in our program is through our introductory Learn to Ride program, where we really start with partnering with schools. Teachers and other school staff are really the best positioned to help recognize youth who would most benefit for becoming involved with S.O.S outreach, and we really work primarily with youth who demonstrate financial, academic, social or emotional need somewhere in their life. And we start with that mountain access, help start that sense of feeling of belonging on their mountains that are really in these kids' own backyard, and where their parents are a lot of the drivers in our community and making all of this happen. Once they graduate from the Learn to Ride program, they get these skills. Skiing and snowboarding really target kids that have little to no experience on the mountain as well. We do invite them to our mentor program, where we start to introduce those components of mentorship and building those positive relationships with safe, stable, nurturing adults, as well as social emotional learning workshops and community service activities, as someone else already talked about. Really the empowerment that can come from getting out there and being, and that sense of belonging of I'm really contributing to my community and I'm really important here. And once kids graduate from our 5-year mentorship program, they can apply to be junior mentors, at which point they are really still participants. They are high school students, but they get a chance to be positive role models for younger youth, a chance to really give back to S.O.S and to their community, and a chance to practice all of those leadership skills that we've been talking about for 5 or 6 years prior. And then recently we've also introduced our career development program that we run over the summer. We're building off those relationships to introduce more skill building and really increasing that sense of self-efficacy and confidence in their skills to get out there and get jobs and feel equipped and know how to interview and know how to write resumes and feel that sense of confidence they're going into some summer job placements. As well as our alumni program, we now have a lot of alumni and have learned that a lot of them do still want to maintain those connections, those relationships, and staying involved. So really maintaining those connections and relationships, as a lot of them do stay involved to pay it forward. We do have specifically in the North Tahoe region 1 staff member who's an alumni, as well as 3 of our mentors, so they do like to stay involved. I do know that we only have 5 minutes. Cool, so that's kind of the progression of our program there. But just for some really fun season highlights from this year, as Spencer mentioned, the core of our season really runs in the winter time. So this was our largest season to date, with over 300 youth served this season in North Tahoe Truckee region, as well as 60 volunteers as mentors, teacher coordinators in our schools, helping to sign up kids, as well as program facilitators for our intro program. So a lot of people involved. We have 4 local mountain partners. By far and large, our biggest is North Star. They are really the drivers for us being able to provide so much mountain access to our kids when they first get ski and snowboard lessons in our Learn to Ride program, as well as continuing that through season passes for every participant in our mentor and junior mentor programs. As far as career development and introduction, we run industry days at North Star with Tahoe Daves, and then with some of our other partners as well. We do run an intro program over at Palisades, who recently brought our junior mentors there for cooking lessons and a chance to get on hill and a chance to explore another mountain, as well as smaller partnerships with Diamond Peak and Mount Rose as well. We did have 4 youth who worked summer jobs at North Star last year as a part of our career development program. We're really excited to continue that forward and expand those relationships. As well as starting to introduce more family engagement through a family resource room that we did in partnership with Tahoe Forest Hospital during some of our workshops for youth. A big end of season graduation that was very well attended by a lot of families for all kids in our mentor program. As well as a parent Learn to Ride session to get some of those parents and guardians on hill learning to ski and snowboard who'd never been before, but as we all know, getting those shared experiences is such a family strengthening activity. So those are just a couple of highlights that were really brought on this season, specifically in this region. There are a lot of opportunities to get involved for for anyone who wants to. Obviously, we have dozens of volunteers in our region, so if that's something that interests you, definitely let us know or refer people to us. If you know young people in grades 3 through 12 who could benefit, refer them as well. We do run through our teacher coordinators at school to help get them registered. There are also plenty of opportunities to partner, donate as well. We love getting our community involved. We're a super community-focused organization. I know that Spencer brought some flyers that we did not get on the table this morning, but we can get them on the table after this.
Thank you very much. I might have a few questions. Anybody with? I have a question. So when you get folks on the hill, kids on the hill, they probably don't have the ski equipment or what have you to dress them out. How does that happen?
Yeah, so as far as hard goods, so thinking like helmets, skis, snowboards, boots, when they're in their intro Learn to Ride program, they do receive a lift rental lesson package with our partner Mountain, so all of that is provided. Once they enter our mentor program, and we're still continuing to run those ride days on hill, but they are also receiving season passes. We do have a gear purchase program that we run through North Star, where they are able to get heavily discounted gear that then they can size up year over year as they grow. As far as soft goods, so thinking about jackets, goggles, gloves, pants, we do provide those for any child who needs them. They can loan them out for the entire season, so they can use them the whole time. We do take donations for that. We just ask that they are in good condition and something that a child will want to wear. So maybe not from 1970.
What's wrong with 1970? Got day-glow green stuff from the 80s. Any other questions? Anybody? Okay, let's give our guests a round of applause. Thank you very much. Okay, this is the time for stump speeches, and then we'll do the door prizes. Does anybody have a stump speech they'd like to give today? Yes.
You can do it from here. It's okay. Just talk really loud.
You can do it from there.
Yeah, because those are on.
There's a mic. Yeah.
I'm Kathleen. Like I said, I'm from Peak Digital Studio, and we're running a campaign this month. We do web design, web development, branding, social media, etc. And for April, any local businesses or nonprofits are doing 20% off all of our services. So now's a great time if you have an old website that you hate. We specialize in Webflow, which is a much easier to use platform if you want to migrate over, or if you're getting started and you need a net new website. We also do the branding exercise of getting you ready to go. So come find me or grab one of these flyers off the table. But yeah, hopefully we can help our local businesses and nonprofits improve their digital presence here in Truckee.
Very good. Thank you. Anybody else? Yes.
Hi, we're holding the Truckee Job Fair on April 30th. It's a Wednesday outside at the Truckee Steve Randall Truckee Rec Center. And we still have a few spots for employers. It's free, and we're doing a lot of advertising, and it's always a really great event. So even if you're not looking for a job, it's kind of cool to go by and see who's hiring and check out the job opportunities.
Very cool. Yes, in the front.
Hello, my name's Amber, spelled A-M-B-E-R-A. The A on the end is silent. I'm with Silent A Photography. If you know any seniors, or if you're having a wedding, or if you're getting married, or if you have a business that would like to revamp their headshots, product shots, or any kind of photography needs, I would love to be considered. Also, if you have a silent auction or a raffle, I would always donate to silent auctions and raffles. Please always hit me up. Always, if you're a nonprofit or even if you're for profit, just still please hit me up because I would love to donate. So thank you.
Okay, very good. And somebody.
My cards are on your table.
Okay. Cards on the table. Okay, right over here.
Hi, I'm Kaylee with Truckee Community Foundation. I'm just letting you guys know that we're having our third Forest Futures Salon next week on Thursday. It starts at 5:30, and we're going to be talking about prescribed burning as well as cultural burns with a representative from the Washoe tribe. So if you would like to attend, please go ahead on our website, ttcf.net, and you can go ahead and register for your space. Please register because it gets really, really full, and we can't guarantee space for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Thought I saw another one. Yeah. Yes.
Hello, I just wanted to introduce quickly just like a program that we are launching this summer that's designed for adults. It's called Beyond Horizons, and it helps adults navigate grief and loss through recreational therapy and as well as therapeutic interventions with 2 therapists in the field, and we're partnering with guiding companies to help outfit the programming using rock climbing guides, fly fishing guides, and mountain biking guides. I know this is a really quick little intro, but you can check out more on our website at thecourageproject.com or .org actually. And if you look under the Beyond Horizons tab, there's more information there. And if it's okay, I'll leave some flyers out on the table so you guys can kind of check out our itinerary. And if you have any questions, you can email me. My email is on the website. So, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, it was close to a tie, but I'm going over here and I'll be right back to you.
I just wanted to let people know I'm Susan Jacobazzi, and I have, with the support of the Chamber, have a Next Level Leadership, which is a leadership program that goes for 8 months. There's 10 meetings, 3 hours each. It's a lot of time for a small cohort to get together and learn communication skills for leaders. So there's another leadership program that is for people who you see potential in and leadership potential in. This is for people who already have people who report to them, employees who report to them, are already in a leadership role, and so we're shining up skills. We talk about building culture, we talk about building trust within your organization, we talk about running great meetings, we talk about who you are, what your leadership style is, and how you can maximize that, and so on. So please come get my business cards, you can find out more, or you can look at loveyour5.com to find out more, because we're taking names for registration that will start in September.
Was this a great meeting, or do I need to call you?
Some of your staff did it.
This is
amazing.
Okay, good. Thank you. In the back.
I'm Ralpha Carlson from the Truckee Library, and I wanted to draw your attention to the flyer on your table for Lisa Carney's photography workshops with your smartphone. On May 29th, in our workspace from 5:30 to 6:30, we're going to be doing group photography. This is a library term, she's a hoot. She is so much fun to learn from. She teaches you your device, she teaches you settings, she teaches you arrangements, focal points. It's just going to be a wonderful evening. This is her 6th workshop with us. And so this one's coming up for wedding and graduation shots. In June 10th, we're going to be doing landscape photography, again, all with your smartphone. Then we're coordinating with Donner State Park in August to do a photo walk. So all this is on our website at the library, and we always have flyers, and come talk to me again. My name is Ralph. Thank you.
Thank you. Is that it? If it is, I'd like to ask the mayor to come up, please. The mayor has a proclamation he'd like to read.
Yes.
You aware of that? No. Because we don't. But I just needed a person of good character to draw for the door prizes today. So the first item is a journal notebook. Who helped me?
Brianna Miner.
Very good. That worked out.
Well done.
Okay. And the next gift is a return ticket to Good Morning Truckee. I'll probably get that.
And the lucky winner is Brian Rose Marinowski.
You got it. Look at that.
Already making inroads here. So, okay. Okay, the next item is a travel mug. Here we go, Mr. Mayor.
Very valuable. Where's the travel mug? That's it? That's great.
You have to check it in if you're flying, though.
Hey.
Library.
Very good. Okay, and our last gift is this fine hat that is... Do you wear flat-billed hats, or do you prefer them rounded out?
Rounded.
Okay, me too. Okay, let's go. That's from the 70s, 80s, 90s.
Flat bill's much too new. The lucky one is Susan Biacco, LYS.
Oh, that's me.
Thank you. And we're going to give back a little time today. We're wrapping up early. Thank you all for coming and enjoying Good Morning Truckee.
Hi.